Good morning, YouTube. Here comes John. He just rode up. We're getting ready to go to the mailbox. I have 10 things going out today, all over the place, all books except for one toy. And the most interesting one is going to Australia. Some vintage magazines, like Hollywood memorabilia magazines from the 90s. It's hard to say that the vintage is 90s now. Anyway, that's what we're doing. We're getting ready to go down to the mailbox, put that out. We're going to go on a walk and have some breakfast and do all of that stuff. And then we'll be getting into it today. Today I'm going to be showing you around my house site. This is a dirt pile right here. This is my future house. That pile of dirt will be put into the walls of my house. So I'll be showing you about that today, because in this video we're going to be starting some of that a little bit later, or continuing the start of some of that. My house site is right here. I'll show you more later when we get back from the mailbox and from our morning chores. So we'll be working on some of this during this video, as well as some of our chicken coop stuff that we got into in the last video. We've still got a chicken that is quarantined because of the other chickens picking on her for some reason. So we're waiting to see, hoping she gets a little better. She's on her own right now. And then we got to do some cob work over there. So we're going to do a few different things during this video. But a new thing is that you get to see what's going on with the house build. So thanks for coming. Thanks for joining us back on another wonderful Sunday. We're going to get things started and we'll check back with you in a little bit. Okay, hello again, YouTube. We have done lots of things. Here's John, he's got the wheelbarrow. We are gonna go gather some rocks down here for our cob chicken coop project ongoing. Today I'm gonna be working in the little ditch inside the coop that I showed you in the last video. And while he goes to start the wheelbarrow rock gathering, I will go ahead and show you the house site. So I showed you this pile of dirt earlier in the video. This dirt is my future house. I'm going to be building what's called a Hyperadobe house, and I had excavation work done here. This is basically the highest point of my property. You can see where it kind of cut out a small portion here. So I'll have a little retaining wall around the patio area of the house. It'll be kind of sunken in for a little bit of heat exchange and coolness in the summer. And then this big pile of dirt that came out of here will be placed into these bags to make my walls, essentially. I've started the process down here already. We're going to be continuing this in this video. You'll see a little bit of it. This is my house layout. You can see I have this is hardware mesh. Let's see if I can get out of the shadow for you. This is 1/4 inch hardware mesh, and this is put in here so that below grade 2 feet, this will be like a rodent barrier protection. And these bags, these are actually a lot of people out here where I live use these for building. These are, I think, originally designed for erosion control. And here's a roll of the bags. We call them Hyperadobe bags. They're from a company called Volm, but it looks kind of like those you know, when you go to the store and you buy onions or something and they're in one of these these bags like this. This is actually a roll, and it's a tube. It's a tube here. So you'll see these a lot of times in the East where I grew up, smaller versions of this where they'll stuff straw in it and lay it along a roadside to help with erosion control. And somebody out here, some genius, decided that these would be great for putting adobe mixture in and forming in place, and it's amazing. And I think they follow after, there's a place called Cal Earth out in California that does dome homes and different things, earth bag homes, earth bag building. And it's essentially, that's what we're doing. We're using this bag material to create walls. So first step for me, if I can get out of the shadow again, I have the lower level of these ditches is filled with about 8 inches of loose packable gravel. And then I filled my first layer of bags in my foundation wall is also gravel. And the reason is because we'll be using this material over there. That is my pile of, it's called AB mix. It's a road base out here for building roads. And we'll be putting the lower levels of my house structure bags with that, because that's what they use to go under like a cement foundation. When I had the Quonset hut foundation poured, they put this in first and pack below it to keep it nice and firm. It firms up nice. It's got clay and sand and gravel. And then there's some larger rocks in there that we'll be taking over to the pole barn to use as basically a dry stone foundation for that. But this is the foundation of the actual house that I'm working on building out here. It's a very small house. That's what I want it. I want my workspace to be separate. That's the Quonset hut. This is the house footprint. I have, if I can get up here a little bit to show you kind of the whole footprint of it. There'll be a courtyard going in this way, out this way, and about where that little ramp is will be my front door, and that'll be an enclosed covered courtyard. So I'll have a shady spot. This way is south, that's north, this is west, and that's east. So I'm facing it south. I'll be doing passive solar heating, cooling, that kind of thing, trying to use the land to help cool the space. The walls will be about 18 inches thick, and they'll be earthen walls. We'll have gravel on the base levels, which you see here. These are my trenches. I have to put the gravel in this section. But the mixture we'll be using will include the native soil, which has got a lot of clay and aggregate and decomposing granite particles in it. We'll be using the AB mix, and we'll also be using lime in order to make our finished plasters adhere better. So the walls will be made of earth. They'll have earth in them, and there's benefits to that out here that we can get into later. But this is the basic house, the layout. It's under 1,000 square feet. We have bedroom area, living area, kitchen, and then this will be a pantry area. My bathroom area is going to be over there. My septic actually runs down. You can see that container. That's my transfer box. It runs down the hill that way. That's my septic tank. And this is my water that will be used for the house. Right now I get a delivery service, brings my water out here. Ultimately, I'm hoping to collect water off the roof space for this house. But we're in the beginning stages of this. This rodent barrier will go all around the exterior perimeter of the house. I've made it to over there. And then the rock bag layer right here will fill the bottom layer of these ditches. And then we'll be putting the AB road base and earth mix on the layers, building the walls up slowly. So it's kind of like, you'll see this in the videos to come, it's kind of like making a giant dirt adobe sausage and then leaving the sausage to dry in place, and then it becomes kind of like a monolithic sort of structure in the end. It's very strong, very sturdy. You can look on Cal Earth and see similar builds and different things. I think it's calearth.org. I'm not sure. I can't remember right now because I'm on video, and that's how pressure works. But anyway, you can look on there and get information about the strength of the walls and the testing of it. They've tested these kinds of structures for something they might build like on Mars or on other planets, to quickly use material that's available to you and have a home and a structure that's solid. So they're very solid structures. It's essentially the adobe mixture that I showed you in previous videos, except instead of making that mixture and using a big field and drying out these blocks in the sun for days and then transferring those blocks to a wall and risking cracking the blocks and doing different things with them, we're basically filling these bags, which basically are a temporary form that stays in place for the duration of the home. We're placing that adobe mixture in the bag, in place in the wall, and then it doesn't move after that. So that's what we'll be doing. That's how the house is going to be constructed. Today, in today's video, at least, you will see us working on finishing the rock layer. My little rock pile is over there. This is kind of my construction materials zone. I have my lime mixture structure there. I have extra pallets back in in the distance for use, I have some of my sheet metal collection that we use for building tops and different things in other videos. This is kind of where we're doing everything, and then I'll give you more of a tour when the time comes. I did want to put out 2 things before I join John in the rock search over there. He's probably already done. I have 2 things that are set up here and here, and these are blocks that I've basically created a channel from inside, what will be inside the house, to outside of the house. My goal with this pass through or channel is that ultimately I can run PVC pipe from here underground all the way back down the hill. This is the north side of my property, so that I can use that for passive heating and cooling, and hopefully I can get them deep enough to get some effect of the warm or cool earth coming in through a pipe into my house, just passively by way of convection currents. So science at its best. Hopefully I get it right. And then this box over here, I'm gonna jump the ditch, now in the kitchen space. This is my kitchen square, and the walls will go around this way, and I have the barrier is placed. I don't know if you can see that rodent barrier is placed in and under on top of the rock layer, and then I've got to stop here. This is the point of the house where electrical lines and plumbing lines for my kitchen sink will come through. This will be the only other break in the wall. Would be a section where, if rodents were going to come in, this would be a weak point, because they would be able to maybe come through there. So I'm going to be treating that special on the outside. But essentially my fresh water lines will come from my tank to my bathroom house area, where this bathroom section of the house will house my utility room, my water pumps and all that stuff. And then the line will come across, and directly in here it'll have very little distance to go into the house, and the kitchen sink will be generally in this area. And the kitchen sink waste, basically the water that comes out of your kitchen sink in my area, is considered black water. A lot of states consider kitchen sink water to be gray water and recyclable for your garden use and all that, but in my area, kitchen sink is considered black water. So even if I were doing composting toilets and different options for toilets, I would have to have a septic system in my county, my zoning, my requirements, because I have a kitchen sink and they consider that black water. So my septic is actually just over there where that little bit of orange is. That's the top of my septic. So my line from my kitchen sink drain can go straight shot right across there. Not a lot of distance to cover for me to get to tie into the septic tank. So that's the idea with the house. You'll see more as we go. We're in the beginning stages. I had to take a little break from house progress for some personal reasons, and we're back on it now. You're getting to see basically this from the ground up, literally ground, and the ground will go up in the earthen walls. So that's what we're doing. That's the house, and I think John has already gathered the bit of rocks that we need for the cob. I missed that work. I'm so lucky. So we're gonna go get started on that. I will leave you here and check back with you in the chicken coop. Okay, we are back in the chicken coop. This is the area under the south door that I'm going to be correcting today with some cob and some rock. Here's the rock that John gathered, and then we'll probably take about 4 or 5 batches to get this section, and then on another day I'll come and do that section. Now I have a temporary laying box set up for our little chicken on medical leave. She's actually hiding out inside here. She does not want any part of what I'm doing, which is fine. But here you can see, this is the trench, like I said before, that I had placed here in order to make this chicken coop. And underneath it is the hardware cloth. And here you can see the chickens have been able to dig out. I dug with the shovel all of this dirt clumps out because I wanted to get everything that's pretty loose out of there and then replace it with a cob rock mixture, because before we had just packed native soil and watered it in and compacted it as best we could, but that's clearly not working here. So we're going to cob it like we did on the front for the other dogs. The cob is a very it's like rock hard mixture. You can see it's hanging on, it's making its own shelf. So I'm going to cob up under that and then down into the trench onto the hardware cloth. So nothing to be able to dig out. And you can see the native soil, the edge of this trench that I dug with the tractor. I mean, it's hard as a rock as well. It's just naturally that way. So that's what I'll be working on. I'm going to try to set you on a time lapse for this portion if I can find a good spot. I'll be placing the rocks and some cob in here, and then there's one chicken over here with me. Like I said, she's just in there right now. The rest of them are all very curious so what I'm doing. So gonna put you on time lapse. We'll see what I can get done today. Hopefully I can get this section from here to here with rock and cob so they can't peck at it very easily and dirt bath right here anymore. Okay, you saw the time lapse. I have now reinforced this corner section. I've got rocks on the top as well as underneath. I didn't do as many exposed rocks under this portion because this door is actually temporary, and I want access to this wood frame around here, because ultimately what we're going to do once I finish the depth of this wall and it's out to its full depth with rock and stone and cob and plaster, I'm going to be using this frame work to attach kind of like a little tunnel to come out beyond the cob so that we can put an automatic door out here so that'll let them out. So until we get to that point, I'm just kind of doing this temporary so they can use this little bridge and jump over. You can see my little buddy over there, the chicken that's on medical leave. She's been hanging out. She was on a time lapse with me too. I made it over to about halfway down the trench. I filled in this part over here with rocks as well and cob. If I can back up enough, I can show you. I made it to about here, and I have to that corner to go to fill this trench with actual cob material. Like I said before, we actually filled the trench when I dug it after we finished the framework of the chicken coop. I just filled it with native soil and just packed it really well, and obviously that has not held up. So the cob holds up, it's still here. They've gone under it, but they can't go through it. So we're going to do the trench with cob, and then we're going to continue cobbing up this wall all the way to there, and then this section will stay open always for a ventilated space. And so that's it for this portion of the cob repair on the chicken coop for this video. We're gonna let this set up, and we're gonna jump over to the house project that I introduced a few minutes ago. That is the huge benefit of being a total spaz and having lots and lots of projects going on, is that when you're building like this and you have to allow time for this to set up before you continue, well, that's okay. We got other things we can do in the meantime. So this little girl looks like she's getting a little better. You can see the spot where she was pecked from the other chickens. Betty keeps coming over here and visiting her because we did not go all the way up. But only Betty comes over here because she is an extra special chicken. So everybody seems to be doing great. She's going to pick through this dirt that I dug out of this trench and have a great time doing that. Keep her busy. I have her temporary laying box over here. Last night she tried to lay on top of the trash can. That did not go well for the egg. So anyway, I hope you're enjoying it so far. We'll see you in a few minutes over at the house site. We'll be doing gravel in the bags for the foundation of my Hyperadobe home. Okay, we are back at the home site. Already shown this earlier in the video. I'm making sort of an interlocking grid with the lower part of this. So the very first layer is going down, and then when we get to the next layer, instead of stopping here, the bag will go all the way across, so it'll kind of overlap. It's sort of like Lincoln Logs back in the day. So the next section I have to do today with gravel, we're filling the first layer with gravel, is to go to my little entrance box over here. So it's this distance. So I have my bags over here, and all I do is lay the bags out the distance, cut them a little bit long to allow for tying things off, and then I feed them onto this bucket system. It's just 2 5-gallon buckets, cut the bottom off, tape them together, and then I have a stretchy band. This is actually a bungee, a piece of a bungee that was cut and tied together. So it's tight enough, but not super tight, and it'll hold it on the bottom. I'll show that part. Hopefully you'll see it in the time lapse how it works. It's a little breezy. I think that'll be the simplest thing to do. So this is what I use. Basically, we bring the rocks. I load this tubing onto the bucket system, kind of like putting on a long sock. We crunch it all up and then scrunch it all out as we fill with rocks. And then I use the tamper to tamp it all down. So you can see this was done several weeks back, and it's very, very stiff, very hard packed, very stiff. And this bag, as I was saying before, it's permanent. You know, it'll take several hundred years, I'm sure, to decompose within the wall, but it also just acts as a form for the material that you put inside it. So it holds it to be stiff so that I can make sure that I have at least 6 inches worth of drainage at the bottom of the house, so that if any water comes over here, it'll have a place to drain and not soak up into the walls. So this is, I don't know if you can see, I could get my hand underneath there, but that's, the bag is 5.5, 6 inches thick, and then there's another 6 inches of gravel packed underneath inside the trench already. And some of the native gravel has fallen in over time, but this will be okay. It's rock as well. It'll just add to the gravelly fun. So we're gonna do that. I'll put you on a time lapse and start this process, and then we'll check back in at the end of the video. John's got my first wheelbarrow of rock, so he's ready to go. So I better get to it. Okay, we're back. That was our first run of the day. We have a lot more to do today. Our goal today is to finish putting the gravel bags in this other 2-room section of the house, the main house area. So we're going to be working on that. We wanted to show a little bit of that in this video so you could beginning to get the idea. We have a lot more of this type of stuff to go because these walls have to grow up. But it's the same process no matter if we're putting gravel or cob or, you know, adobe type mixture in the bag. Whatever mixture we're putting in the bag, whatever material, it goes into this bucket system, and we move it along and tamp it as we go. And then you do 1 layer each day that you're working, or maybe 2. I like to do 1 and then let it set up, and then come back the next day, wet it down just like we would with cob and all the other things, and then it grows on itself and it makes it very strong. So hopefully you'll see more of that progress, and if you have any questions, they should be answered as time passes. Today was just a quick beginning of all of that. I'm getting ready to take a little break before we do the rest of those walls, and my dogs need a little break, so I'm gonna go walk the little puppies, and then we'll say goodbye to each other for this week after that. So just a moment and you'll see the cutest puppies on the planet. All right, we're back at the Airstream. The dogs are watching TV. You want to come out, puppies? Come on. You want to take a break? Yeah, it's time. It's time for a walk, huh? There's Finley and Loretta. They are ready to roll. They're ready to go. Go on a little walk. Want to go on an afternoon walk? Yeah? You want to say? Yeah? All right, so we're going to go on our walk, and we're going to say goodbye for today. And I thank you so much for watching. Thanks for coming back again for another week of progress. little by little, we're making gains on all these big future plans. So come back next Sunday. I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope you learned something new, maybe. I don't know. This was new to me a little while ago. So this is a fun way to build. It's a nice way to build. It's nice, slow, and calm, and I like it. So hopefully you'll see more of that coming up. And please like and share and subscribe, and we will see you next Sunday for the next update.